Hello everyone, thanks for watching. The last video we did, part 1 of 2, had the first 14 letters that I thought were the easiest to learn. And now we're going to move on to the next group of 12 letters and the 10 numbers. So just the chart there on the right is just a big reference showing all the different symbols. And here we go. Just to recap, on the last video, we had these 14 letters we learned. On the left side, you'll notice one symbol is used only, either a dot or a dash, just repeated a number of times. So we learned EISH as 1, 2, 3, or 4 dots, and TMO as 1, 2, or 3 dashes. And then on the right hand, you'll notice that we switched up the symbols. We started with one and then repeated a number of the second one. And we got A, W, and J as a dot dash, dash, or dot dash, dash. And N was the opposite, so dash dot. And D was dash dot dot. And B was dash dot dot dot. V I threw in because it reminded me of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, and I thought it worked well with the B. So B and V are easy ways to remember. And it's just the reverse of B. V just becomes da 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 da. Da 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 da, like Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, which you'll recall from the previous video. So that's 14 what I call easy letters, the first 14 easy letters to learn. You should have those completely solidly down and able to write them down and do the sounds and recognize them completely before watching the rest of this video. So now we move on to the next 12. All right. Now, if you end up, the next group I learned was KCY, and to me, it just alternates the first 3, starting with a dash, dot, dash, and the C and Y are just the extensions of K. So if you look, a kangaroo, it has the syllables kangaroo, da, 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 dash, dot, dash, dash, dot, dash. So that to me reminds me of kangaroo. So that letter... once I got that down pat, to make it a C, you just add another dot. So da 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 da. And how I remember is that a C sounds a lot like a K because they're also the same sound. A hard K, or a hard C, I should say, sounds like a K. Then a Y is essentially... in this group, I like to say KY jelly. It happens to be kind of like a petroleum jelly that's sold. It's a popular brand in my area. I don't know if anyone else has heard of it, if you're from another area of the world watching this video. But so K, if you just do a dash after it, so that is a Y. Okay, so that group solidly embedded in your head, da 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 da, and da da da. And that's KCY. The second group that alternates the first 3, but just the opposite. Now you have dot dash dot, da 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 is R, and da 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 is L. Now, I like to remember that as amateur radio license, RL, radio license. If you look at the bottom of the slide, you'll notice A is da 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 da, and then R builds from that. It goes da da da, and then amateur radio license da 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 da. So it starts with dot dash, then dot dash dot, and then dot dash dot dot. But in any case, the last one in red, which you should expect to see, dot dash, doesn't code for anything. That's our first one that I think we've encountered so far in the video that doesn't encode for anything. So just to recap, we've got K, analogous to R. It's just reversed. K is kangaroo, dash, dot, dash. R is the reverse, da, da, da. C becomes like a K, da, 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 da. And there's no analog. There's no da, 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 da on the right-hand column between R and L. That doesn't exist. And finally, the Y, KY jelly, KCY, da 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 da, it becomes, that's the Y, and the analog to that is the L, which is da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Okay? So, 19 letters so far. Remember the simple 7, H and TMO. We've got the next 7, that's out of alignment there. But anyway, AWJ and NDBV, all from the first video. All 14 of those we learned in the first video. We've now added another 5. So we're up to 19 already. There's only 7 left to get to 26. So remember, K, Y, C is the group I learned together, and then RL. Now, finally, the last 7. Now, the way I split these up is a group of 5, which you see on the left side, and the group of 2 on the right. Those were the last and hardest ones to learn. So let's, on the next few slides, you'll see some of my memory hints to learn these. But again, it all comes down to practice. There's really nothing you can do. Just practice, practice, practice. Okay. On the left-hand side, same first 2 symbols. So with the G, Q, and Z group, instead of having one symbol and then repeating or doing some combination of things, you have 2 of the same symbol and then some other thing following. So in case of G, Q, and Z, you've got dash, dash, dot. That's the G is kind of the root of that group, or M even, because it's dash, dash. From that follows dash, dash, dot as G. Q is dash, dash, dot, dash. And Z is dash, dash, dot, dot. U and F happen to be dot, dot, dash, which would be U, da, 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 and F is da, 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 da. Now, there should be one more there that's analogous to Z, which should be dot, dot, dash, dash, the reverse of Z, dash, dash, dot, dot, dash, dash. That doesn't exist. That's another one that doesn't exist, okay? The other ones that don't exist, the other 2 that don't exist, we've already encountered one, which was the analog of the C, right? There's no, C was dash, dot, dash, dot. There's no dot, dash, dot, dash. There's no analog to the Z, which is dot, dot, dash, dash. And the other 2 that don't exist out of the 30 are dash, 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 dot, and dash, 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 dash. There's no 4 dashes in a row. Dash, 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 dash doesn't exist, and dash, 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 dot doesn't exist. Okay, anyway, back to the right side of the screen, what I call the symmetricals, because they're basically, they flip symbols, but they also are just mirror images on each side. You can read them both backwards and forwards, and they're the exact same thing. So, and they're 4 spaces long. So X is dash, dot, dot, dash, and P is dot, dash, dash, dot. So X dash, dot, dot, dash, P dot, dash, dash, dot. So how do I remember? Okay, well, how do you remember them? G, Q, Z, I think of them as deriving from M. So there's a men's magazine called Gentleman's Quarterly. You can see a picture there on the right-hand screen with The Rock. And there's GQ. And I don't know, maybe The Rock likes to wear zebra fashion shoes. Okay? So you've got, whenever you think of G, dash, dot, quarterly, dash, dash, dot, dash. And then zebra is dash, dash, dot, dot. And just memorize. That's all I can say. You learn the groupings and you just memorize and memorize and memorize. Because what happens is when you listen to these symbols, eventually it becomes subconscious and you just kind of recognize the sound. You're not sitting there thinking which letter it is, and you'll hear the sound and you'll just understand that's what the letter is. It'll come subconscious. Okay, so M sort of forms the group G, Q, Z. Okay? Now, the way I think of the other 2, or the other 4 letters that remain now, are U, F, and XP. So remember, U an F come from using two dots at the beginning instead of two dashes, like the GQZ group. And if you use two dots, it's an I. So you can say that intelligent university freshman. Okay, or you can come up with any other memory tool you want. That's the one I came up with. Again, once you finished learning these, you're not going to use the mnemonics anymore anyway. You're just going to know them. But at the beginning, just to keep recalling the letters properly, you might use these mnemonics. So university, da-da-dash, da-da-da, da-da-da, and freshman, da-da-da-da. You'll remember the next one on that group would have been da-da-da-da. It does not exist. That's the reverse of the Z, which I mentioned earlier doesn't exist. So you've got U, da-da-da, F, da-da-da-da. And then finally, those university freshmen are using Windows XP. Now, that's kind of dating this video. Trust me, Windows XP is long gone since I made this video. We're in Windows 11 territory at this point, but I needed something to match XP. So you'll just have to memorize X and P the way they are there. I couldn't come up with anything else to remember it. The X, I don't know, does it look like a dash, dash? You just have to remember that's what it is. And the P is the dash, dot, da. And that's it for the letters. Okay, so putting it all together. Those are all 26 letters. You have E, I, S, H, and TMO, which only use either a dot repeated 1, 2, 3, 4 times or dashes repeated 1, 2, 3. Those should be easy to remember. In my first video, we did the simple 7 and the next 7, which are really just either a dot starting off with 1, 2, or 3 dashes. So it builds on A, then W and J, they're in a group. You reverse that and you have a dash and go on with either 1, 2, or 3 dots. You'll end up with N as the core, of that next group. So da-da, and then you add D, da-da-da, and then B, da-da-da-da. And V I lumped in there because it looked like the B, an analog of the B, and Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, da-da-da-da. So those were our first 14. Then the next group of 5, we always had the first 3 alternating, da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. And then the final one in that group, that's KYC, R and L, da-da-da, da-da-da-da. And the last one, which would you expect to be the da-da-da, which would be the reverse of C, doesn't exist. Okay, remember that was the first one that we noted didn't exist. We have G, which follows from the M group, which I call like the men's magazine, right? Gentleman's Quarterly Zebra Shoes or whatever. It starts off with the M always. Da-da, da is the G. Da-da, da-da, Q. Da-da, da-da, Z. And then the next group, intelligent university freshman, right? The I is the 2 dots, starts off with the I. Da-da-da, U. Da-da-da-da. It's our F. And then the last one, which should be there, is da-da-da-da. Dot, dot, dash, dash. Doesn't exist. That would be analogous to the Z or Z. That doesn't exist. So 2 symbols so far we don't have. We've got X and P there, which are kind of what I call the symmetrical symbols, because you can split them down the middle and they look like they're in a mirror image of each other. You have a dash dot and then dot dash, or dot dash dash dot. And 2 more symbols that don't code for anything are 4 dashes in a row. They should have been up there with the TMO group. It would have been analogous to H, so it doesn't exist. And then one more that doesn't exist is dash 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 dot. It would have been a mirror of a V, or analogous to a V. Doesn't exist. Okay, so there you have it. those are all 26 letters. So you should be able to now memorize those really well. Repeat, 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 and practice and learn, and just sit there and just try to get that into your head as much as possible, converting from a letter to the dot dash Morse code symbol. Now, once you've got that down perfectly, you need to then listen, and try to decode the other way. Listen to Morse code and try to figure out what the letters are. You'll find that a lot more challenging than coming up with the code from the letters. It's much easier, at least at the beginning for me, to just spit out Morse code when I see a letter. You know, if I read signs out in Morse code, I'll look at the letter and I can right away find the symbol and say it, like in dots and dashes. But if you hear dots and dashes, looking up the letter in your mind is much tougher. That takes a lot of practice, and that's a very important skill to have. That's what you need the most, when you're receiving Morse. You're not just sending it. Okay, numbers. This is pretty easy. It uses 5 symbols, and you start counting with a dot. So first, basically, and fill in the rest with the dash. So what that means is, you'll see on the next page, a 1 is a dot followed by 4 dashes, because you have to use 5 symbols in that Morse code word. 2 is 2 dots followed by 3 dashes, so you get to the 5 total, and so on. When you reach 5, you've got 5 dots in a row. And now on the 6, actually, when you reach 6, you now have to start with a dash and do 4 dots, and so on. So let's go to the next page. It'll make more sense. So 1 dot dash 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 dash, da 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 da. 2 is da 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 da. 3 is da 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 da. 4 is da 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 da. Sorry, my timing's off there. Da 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 da. 5 da 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 da. 6 da 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 da. 7 da 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 da. 8 da 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 da. 9 da 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 da. And 0 is da 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 da. So basically 0 is just blanks, a bunch of dashes in a row. Okay? And so that's it. At this point, what you want to do is basically practice. Now, the first thing you'll want to do is just look at every sign you have. License plates come up, signs come up, cereal boxes, basically anything you have, a bunch of symbols, letters, codes, anything that pops up in your mind all day long. Just try to recall the Morse code and sound it out, right? So you'll see license plates, you've got letters, you've got numbers to practice. There's not really much punctuation on those, so it's easier for now because you don't know the punctuation symbols for Morse. And that will help to, get the code into your head. And then the next step is to use an app that actually comes up with random words or letters and sends you the code in a sound. So you'd hear like a da-da-da-da, and you'll have to know that it's a J. Or you'll hear da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, and you'll have to know that's an L, right? Because da-da-da is R, and da-da-da-da is an L. So yes, you'll get the hang of it, but it's much harder, but you'll become subconscious. All right? So that's it for a couple of my short Morse code videos. Hope it helps. I would learn from other code videos as well and see if those are, give you a little bit more insight as well into learning. And then practice, and that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope to follow up with more videos such as this as my radio license learning journey progresses. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.